Good morning. I'm Joey, only Caribou Weather Dude here on the 29th of October, Tuesday, 2024, that is. And we got our first warnings put out for Haida, Gwaii there yesterday for wind warnings, and also maybe the north tip of Vancouver Island. Had a little bit of thunderstorm action in southern BC yesterday, nothing too alarming. Over in Alberta side, some of those storms that popped up there became very aggressive, breaking some big hail and very exciting storms there. So congratulations, Alberta. You must have really enjoyed that. So our low is deepening right now. It's almost as deep as it's going to go. It's going to make a slide down the coast and take its aim at northern, western United States. There up to Oregon, Washington, California, and places like that. So we do watch it slide by on Wednesday and Thursday, and it will throw some precip inland for BC. I don't think anything that crazy for a lot of us, but it is, the most exciting thing happening this week. Okay, let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. Ain't dry mopping this. Strong winds expected, 90 to 110 kilometer over exposed coastal sections today at North Vancouver Island. An intense frontal system will bring strong winds to exposed coastal sections at North Vancouver Island late this evening and overnight. They will gradually ease Wednesday morning, and that's the same for up in Haida, Gwaii, the same warning more or less. Snowfall warning continues up there, 10 to 20 centimeters, reduced visibility due to heavy snowfall. That's this morning through late Wednesday morning. That is going on up there. Much of the Yukon, 20 to 30 centimeters is possible further inland. This low-pressure system approaching the Yukon from the southwest will spread snow to above regions today. Snow will continue tonight, then taper off Wednesday morning for Whitehorse and White Pass, and Wednesday afternoon elsewhere. 20 to 30 centimeters possible. Go up to the Dempster Highway. Thank you. Dempster Highway. Strong winds, near zero visibility, and blowing snow, making travel very difficult. And these are still our Nunavut lows. That's from our last storm that came across BC and became an Alberta Clipper and is making its way up into Hudson Bay country. 5 to 15 centimeters is expected in Kivalliq today, this afternoon. Gusts of 80 kilometers an hour could happen on Wednesday as well. At Coral Harbor, snowfall warnings are going on there, 10 to 15 centimeters. Blizzard warnings, 80 kilometers an hour. And blizzard, that's a very specific thing. Already talking with Mark this morning. We're excited because the CWOP has accepted our weather station. Look at this. I got a Tempest Weather Station advertisement right here on the site. Cold front to bring rain, wind to Pacific Northwest on Wednesday and Thursday, published by Mark Ingalls today. Next Pacific storm system forecast to reach the region Wednesday. As active weather continues, the storm will be typical fall event with rain, mountain snow, and modest wind speeds. A Gulf of Alaska low will swing a cold front through British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. This reaches coastal communities and the major cities Wednesday morning. Steady rain ends in Vancouver, Seattle, Portland mid-afternoon. West of the Cascades, here's the exciting thing that's going on, and a lot of this is not going to really apply to BC, but it seems like a lot of you are tuning in from the United States more and more, so I don't feel too bad now reaching out a little further. So you have these are thunderstorm potentials embedded within this frontal band, right? So let's see what he says here. The cold front passage looks especially spicy along the Washington-Oregon coast. Mesoscale modeling has consistently shown a signal for strong thunderstorms embedded within the frontal boundary. This is a reasonable setup for landfalling waterspouts. So what he's saying is some of these thunderstorms could create some rotation, maybe drop a waterspout out there. Some of those waterspouts could come ashore. It's not out of the question. These could go on into Thursday, bringing isolated instances of small hail, grapple, and lightning, and things like we just saw yesterday in BC and Alberta. The low drop south of Gulf of Alaska to make landfall on Washington coast Thursday. Weak landspout tornadoes appear possible west of I-5 and north of Tillamook in this dynamic setup. So cool things that Mark's pointing out here. Coastal regions get breezy with the frontal passage. Vancouver could see wind gusts of 50 kilometers an hour. You're probably, if you're in Vancouver, thinking, well, we heard that one before. Last weekend's wind event was a little bit of a disappointment, right? And Crater Lake region could see 18 inches of snow even, right? So that's big time snow for Oregon. So BC Interior, here he's got my last video up there. And, he says what I say. He may diverge some from me, or we may emphasize different things or different regions or different things that stand out to us. But my forecasts are reasonable, which I appreciate you saying, Meteorologist Mark. The path of the low means that rain and mountain snow totals in BC Interior will be limited. The last several lows have come into the north coast or southeast Alaska, keep flowing, moisture flowing into the entire province. Since this low is forecast to move south the Washington coast, the moisture plume will likely be limited to southern third of BC. And what I'm seeing is this really takes a slide down the coast. So there's our strong winds that hit overnight into Haida, Gwaii. It says Wednesday here, but this is international time. So this is late Tuesday night, hitting into North Haida, hitting from the south into Haida, Gwaii. And the same sort of setup we've seen several times before, where Vancouver Island gets a good blasting of snow, rain, and things like that. Our low already weakening by the time we're well into Wednesday. Coquihalla, places like that, through Stewart, through Bella Coola, through 99 Highway to see some particularly nasty weather, just unreasonable travel conditions. I don't know if we're going to see huge piling up of snow. No, I don't think that's that necessarily. I don't think I was trying to indicate that yesterday either. It's more about what travel will be like, what your conditions will be like in there, right? I don't think that we're even going to see a lot of wind by the time we get into Thursday. More just this playing out as this moves slowly, steadily down the coastline and giving us some lingering snowfall and whatnot, right? Maybe as we get later towards the end of the weekend into Sunday, Monday, we might see the next sort of round of precip into BC. So snowfall going on in Wyoming today. That's a big challenge for them. I think through Kansas up towards Iowa, there's that risk of severe thunderstorms possible there today as well. And you get kind of the watch there. You can see that there's precipitation coming into BC, nothing too crazy. Up along the coast, there's a good round of it as that low slides its way down. It should send some flurries into southern BC. It could make treachery on the highway, yeah. And you see there's a lot of precipitable water out there. There's a big dry slot now heading through the Rockies into the prairies, right? And that's not what we're getting here. And you look at the flow of moisture up through the Gulf that's coming in there. So you can see this dry slot versus this wet moisture slot. That's going to help supercharge some thunderstorms down there. So I know there's talk of severe storm behaviors going on there in the United States. So make sure if you live down there, you're paying attention to someone who forecasts for down there. So I do expect to see some strong winds up along the coast. Nothing like we haven't seen already. That's nothing too crazy. Nothing that we should be all that scared about. I think as we watch this sort of storm pushing into the United States, we can see how this one that's sliding down right now will be affecting us for the next couple days. We can see how that will provide another round of severe likely as you get into next week for people down there. Water vapor in the 500 millibar vorticity for continental United States, and you can see we're on the north side of the jet stream here in British Columbia. You can see this area looking pretty neat. That's where our Wyoming snowstorms have come from. That's pushing towards the Great Lakes, this entire mass of unstable weather, right? And you can see how the cold is diving in behind it. You can see how the warm is coming up and feeding it. So big time for you. And this is our storm down here that's pushing down to the BC coast and making its way to maybe the northern parts of California. What is the confidence for the long range setup going forward? So this is your polar jet here, this top one. As you can see, we got it bent up pretty well along the Alaska coast right now, and this has been sort of going on for a little while. This is called a spaghetti plot. What a spaghetti plot is it's all the different computer models put together onto one graph, and it shows how much do they agree or disagree. So each line being a different model's projections, right? And you can see when you start off for the first bunch of days, looks pretty good into the 30th, into 31st, looks pretty good. By the weekend, still November 1st, we're mostly in agreement. Then the second Saturday, fairly in agreement still, but we're starting to see some confusion in the United States. Now we're starting to see some widening of the bar. So I think beyond Monday, we don't really have a great idea what comes next. That's what this graph more or less tells me, right? I have a little look at the North Pacific right now. Here's some of imagery of our storm out there moving over the last 24 hours or so. Beautiful storm, more or less, organizing itself, coming down towards. You can see where some of that convection will be flying off in the States, where some of those severe storms characteristics will be available. And having a look at BC here, where things are mostly clearing out, and we got a nice looking day ahead of us here. So that's sort of looking out how yesterday our storms and nonsense moved through. You can see some of those strong storms that developed in Alberta, made for some large hail and things like that. And we get that generally clearing trend today in BC ahead of our next storm moving in. You can see, wow, our GFS map is going so super fast. So here we are, Tuesday, nice clear day, nice clear day, nice clear day, nice clear day. We're here October 30th, coming overnight. See that strong wind picking up for Haida, Gwaii, like we were saying, 90 to 100 kilometer hour winds. Should be blasting some of that along Vancouver Island. Some hard winds there, some hard precipitation. This is radar reflectivity, so this would be a composite of like what might a radar see if it looked at this. Here's some of our signals for what I'm concerned about. The Coquihalla, things like that. Maybe still get some moments of nasty weather in through there. Less snowfall and precip inland than maybe it seemed to me at first. And if that's the case, that's fine. Friday looking pretty nice. Definitely Wednesday, Thursday, another model run through GFS. Again, seeing how a lot of it sliding down the coast. Just spotty moments of it into the interior that seem to be affecting us. I would like to know how to slow down this from the College of Dew page, the next slab forecast. I'd like to know how to slow it down. It goes so fast. I think the big story will be these wind speeds when they hit into Haida, Gwaii, into Vancouver Island. This is a wind vorticity, geospatial height. There you go. So here's some of the wind. I just love the beautiful swirling motions of some of these models. They really help illustrate how fluid the weather is, how it moves. So rain projections have been brought down a little bit along the coast, right? Could see some of that near the California border to Portland. Could see 100 mils still in some of those places, right? And then we got that risk for thunderstorms moving through, like Mark was saying. So that's a risk for you, as definitely. Central interior may see a splash or two of rainfall. Could see some mix of rain and snow down south, right? Temperatures kind of chilly this morning, kind of indicative of what to expect. Rainfall totals brought down a little bit still for the west coast of Vancouver Island, so maybe even less rain than they're expecting to see there. And in terms of snowfall, I hope I didn't do anyone wrong. Wyoming getting that big snowfall going on. Some snowfall in the mountains of Oregon could be quite exciting. A little bit in the California area as well. Mammoth Lakes and places like that. I think Mark was mentioning in his blog there. And we do have that risk in BC where on the 99 highway, on the 3, on the 5, on the 1 over Revelstoke, some of these spots along the, when you're going towards Castlegar there and you're in the Paulson Pass, I wouldn't expect that you'll be completely snow free if you're going to travel. So I still think that maybe we're scaling down a little bit here, but I still think Wednesday is not a great travel day, right? So Vail Mountain to Jasper, probably going to see some dustings in there. Again, not huge accumulations. No, doesn't look like we're going to see much for accumulation, but still you're going to have wet, slippery surfaces and things like that. The 16 corridor west, the Highway 20 into Bella Coola, same sort of things, right? Well, we're not getting major snowfalls, no. Hey, some of these places could see 12, 10 centimeters and things like that. Could see 14 even in some of these passes. So here's a good example of some of the areas where it might not be that nice to drive through, right? Even if you're up in that pass and you get a mix of snow, you got 10 to 15 centimeters of wet snow and mix and things like that. It's not going to be great for driving in. So I still maintain that forecast. Wednesday really is when you don't want to be making travel plans in BC. And again, it's not because all hell is going to break loose and there's going to be some kind of a disaster. No, definitely some things that could have been concerning with this storm. But if it just keeps making its way down the coast like it does, yeah, okay, some snowfall overnight into Wednesday into Thursday, sure. Late in the day, Wednesday moving in. long ribbon of visiting the west. You can see this looks concerning for Wednesday as well in the United States. So some of these places like Missouri, Oklahoma, some of these thunderstorms look like they could be those colors in there generally are the things I see before a very severe storm set up. And this whole ribbon of it, more or less an atmospheric river of a sort going across land, creating thunderstorms, right? It's acting in much the same way, right? It's being squeezed by two different high pressure systems that's low in the middle, and it's forcing its hand to move a certain way and behave a certain way. So Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock, a little bit of snowfall going on southern BC. Thursday, 4 a.m., that's continuing. So, that's more or less your target if you can kind of wait out Wednesday, Thursday for travel, or just pay attention to what's going on out there. Check Drive BC, check your local radars, check here, check there. Not the event of the year, no, nothing that exciting. And maybe I even oversold it a little bit yesterday with, I just looking for nice titles, hump day is dump day. And yeah, it is. It's going to dump some snow in the mountains. And this is your standard BC weather, more or less. It's, I'm not fear mongering. I'm not, just telling you this is happening, and it's not that exciting. And it's I would love if it was exciting sometimes, because that's when I get more subscribers and more views. But a lot of the time we're just talking about normal BC weather happenings and mostly beneficial stuff. More precipitation we can take inland at a steady but calm rate, and by that I mean like not taking everything at once, atmospheric river like, but just consistent rainfall, consistent snowfall, consistent Pacific storms coming in, right? And we don't have a great view beyond next Monday what things are going to look like, but the pattern's a little bit wonky right now. It's doing things a little bit differently than it has been doing, and it's making prediction a little harder. And there's a few times over the years where I come into these moments where for months I'm like, man, I got it. And then suddenly I'm just like, what is going on? Nothing's doing what I expect. So I don't think this is quite one of those times, but it's, it's close to it. It's close to it where, the patterns have just changed subtly, just subtle changes, and just enough to make things, where you can kind of ballpark the predictions, but complete accuracy for the last couple of days has been a little hardish, and I'm not the only one feeling that. So forecasters are thinking that across the board. Anyways, please hit like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. And I'm going to go and use this sunny day that we got here to go cut some firewood. I think I really need to get on Dave Jeffrey's load, so I'm going to probably do that today, Jeff, for you, Dave. Yeah, please, thank you, everybody, for helping along the way here. It's really appreciated. Something that I noticed yesterday is I had a couple new Patreons come in, and, I can't thank you enough. So I'm just pulling up my Google here so I can check out your names. I know one was Roni, who gave a really nice donation. So anyways, I just want to thank you guys for the help. Jody is another one, right? So a couple new members. Mama G last week. I really appreciate the help from people like you out there, right? And all the likes and shares and subscribes and all the comments. And, it's fun to get up every day and talk weather, because I know how much people actually appreciate it. And that gives me purpose and meaning in my life. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy today. Batten down the hatches tonight, Haida, Gwaii. And, be wary about traveling over the high country on Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, that's more or less the show again today. Bye now.